One of the other places that we used to come and ride, which wasn't a skate park but was still kind of cool, was here. This is, well, at the moment it's Hobart High School, but it was Newtown High School when we used to come here. And we used to come to this bank here, which had a big groove in it from just hundreds of people riding up it and doing jumps off the top of this little embankment here. Clearly nobody does that anymore because it's all pristine and lawn and nice. So that's fine, that's fine. Yet another riding spot that has been forgotten to the sands of time. Come flying down here, up there, hit the top of the bank, big jump, and then keep riding to wherever. It was a bit of a pass-through kind of area. You didn't spend a lot of time just hanging out here. Who wants to be hanging around a school as a teenager? Who wants to be hanging around a school as a 50-something-year-old man? I think I'd better go. Another popular place that we used to come, particularly the Lenah Valley BMX boys, of which there are about 3 of us, we'd come here. So back in the 80s, this fence wasn't here, and this embankment had, much like Newtown High School, just a big groove in it from like heaps of people coming, riding their bikes, hitting this and doing big jumps off the end. And why this was popular, I think it was one of my favourite places to go, is because you could do a big jump but there wasn't a big drop off. You'd just sort of land on the top, and it was very forgiving. So I landed my first 360 here. I can't do that now. I could probably do like a 12. So like many of these old places we used to ride, we cannot ride here anymore. There's this fence, kind of ruins the whole experience. This is the OG spot for me for riding a BMX. You wouldn't pick it now, like we're in the middle of the bush. But back in 1983 or something, this was a bit more clear. And a friend of mine lived up through the bush there on the hill, Chicken Man. And he and I would come down here and we kind of built this little BMX track thing. He did most of the work. He was far more industrious than I was. And we got like rocks out of the creek and mud from the creek and sort of built this kind of berm around here. So you'd sort of ride down, these trees weren't here, and go around the berm, and then we'd go through here, and there's kind of this natural divot thing here, which is still here. It's the only thing that is still here. And you go down here and jump out the end. We sort of built that bit up so it was a bit more of a jump. And this bit we called the snake pit for some reason. And this is where I first, well, even before I had a BMX, I had this weird red, I don't know, chopper kind of bike that I used to ride here. Couldn't really do jumps and anything like that because the bike was all wrong. I did put a red line sticker on it. The only person I was fooling was myself, but it still made me feel like I was sort of riding a BMX. And then when I got a BMX, an actual BMX, I kind of stopped coming here. We just, you know, I started getting into riding skate parks instead of dirt things. But now it's all overgrown. It's all trees, and that's good. We need trees and we need bush. I saw some wallabies just before as I was walking up through here, so it's good to see that at least something is still doing some gnarly jumps. So back in my day, oh God, I sound like my dad now, but back in my day, this used to be a very clear path up through here to get to our makeshift little homemade BMX track, and now it's all overgrown and mucky and boggy and you couldn't get through there. It's even quite difficult to get through there on foot. Also back in my day, after we'd been riding our BMXs or non-BMX, depending on what period we're talking, we'd come down through here, and the RSL used to have this big caged area here where they chuck all their bottles, and we'd go in and grab all the Coke bottles, take them over to the shop and get 20 cents each. Can't do that now. Or they are sort of bringing that back now, but it's not the same. Another place we used to come is here at John Turnbull Park. This is all kind of lovely sculpted gardens and stuff now, but back in the 80s, this was just like overgrown nothing. And there was a track through here that you could sort of go down. There was these old, oh, they're still there. These old steps here that you go down and you go through this bit that was all through the undergrowth, and then there was a jump at the end. There isn't a jump now, it's all like push-up equipment and stuff like that, which it's not really my thing. Also, while we're doing this trip down memory lane, there was kids play equipment down there. There still is, but back in the 80s there was this weird slide, which I've never seen a slide like it anywhere else before, since, or at any time, that had these blue rollers on it. Like, it wasn't a slide, it was just all these rollers, like one of those packing places where all the boxes skid over the rollers. It was a slide like that, and so we'd get our BMXs at the top of the slide and ride down the rollers and then sort of acid drop off the end. That was cool. I only just remembered that walking past then. What a weird thing to remember. What was the deal with that slide? And the other thing with that slide is if you got your fingers too in, like your fingers would get stuck in between the rollers. That's probably why it's not there anymore. Too many kids losing fingers. It's a great slide, Mum. This one's very, very specific and very, very exclusive, because this is the spot I used to ride all the time, because this was my house when I was growing up. I did a lot of riding here. It's not the same as it was when I was living here. There was a lot of just empty field and space around it, and now it's all been built up with other houses and stuff. It's not even the same address. There used to be number 52 when we lived here, and now it's number 50. What happened? We've slipped down a notch. That's a bit of a shame. So at my place, I had two ramps. I had this little kicker ramp that used to be just near that fence there. None of these buildings were here. It was just open grass. So the kicker ramp we made out of the top bit of a quarter pipe that didn't quite work out, and we just took the top off and turned it into a little kicker ramp. And then behind this hedge here, we had a quarter pipe that was originally my cousin Toby's quarter pipe that we got off him, and we pulled it apart, put it in a truck and brought it here and reassembled it and dickied around with it. It was very unsafe and very rickety. It was held up by these bits of wood jammed into the dirt to try and stop it from leaning over. But it was great. We learned a lot of tricks on that quarter pipe. wouldn't be able to ride there now because obviously that quarter pipe is probably where these people's laundry is now. But back in the day, one of the fun things was to ride down. That was all just a big field. It was a pretty knobbly field, and you hit the quarter pipe, fly out and land on the top of the hedge, which was quite soft and forgiving. So that was fun. No one's going to do that again, but I have the memories, and so do other people. People have reminded me of this while I've put up these other videos. They're like, oh, we remember you riding that rickety quarter pipe in your front yard. And you used to be able to, like on particularly rad days, if you came out in the street here and were walking past, the hedge was not as high as it is now, but it was still pretty high. And you used to be able to see me pop out the top. Rad, man, rad.